So many of you praised this Scotch expression that I had no choice but to buy a bottle and review it. So let's do this. Welcome to Whisky Riffs. If you're new here, I'm Kevin, and I appreciate you watching this video. Many of you that have been a long time viewer of this channel might notice that my backdrop's a little bit different. It looks much sturdier and taller. The old backdrop was very nice, but it had no room at all for whiskey. It was designed for holding a TV and for making fake fire, actually, in our previous apartment. So I replaced it. And when I replaced it, I was able to take all the whiskey that I had stashed in multiple spots and put most of it behind me in this cabinet. As of my most recent inventory, that's 107 bottles with 27 of them unopened. That means a lot of whiskey to review. One of those bottles that was unopened was this Kilchoman Loch Gorm. It's a 2021 edition, and many of you said, "Have you tried the Loch Gorm?" And I had to say no, but today I'm going to correct that. Oh, and if you're interested in a video that might be like a whiskey cabinet tour, let me know in the comments. I'd love to show off some of the bottles I have. Let me get this open. I love getting some of these started. Don't you hate it when you can't get the whiskey opened? Misbehaving foil. Yeah. This Islay Scotch is bottled at 46% ABV. It has natural color and is not chill filtered, which is a very good thing. This 2021 edition is from a vatting of 24 different Oloroso sherry casks that were filled in 2011 and 2012. That means that this is a no age statement whiskey, but it does have a basic age of 9 or 10 years based on the whiskey that's in there. And if they were to label it, they'd have to use the youngest age, which means it would be a 9-year bottled whiskey. It's a limited run of 17,000 bottles, which means it's probably not going to be around too long. But they also had a bottling in 2020, which I was tempted to get also, but first I wanted to give this one a try. Kilchoman is a fantastic distillery. It's located on the island of Islay, and it has kind of a friendlier environment than some of the other distilleries. When my wife and I were there in 2018, it felt like we went from some of the bigger corporate Lagavulin, Lafroy distilleries to more of a family-run operation because it was more compact, it was more self-contained, and they actually had bottling on site. So we got to watch them bottle whiskey. Most of the things that are done with Kilchoman are done right there in that distillery. Now, I've heard so many good things about this. I can't wait to taste it. Let me see what the nose is like first. Definitely sherry cask. This is all sherry coloring. And if you see, this is 9 or 10 years in a sherry butt, which means that it has no artificial colors changing it. Sometimes you'll see whiskeys that are sherry cast and they have this reddish color to them. That's probably more accurate for a sherry cast, the color you're seeing right here. Because again, no added coloring. This is definitely a sherry cast nose. There's citrus, there's dried plums, raisins, a little nuttiness, and the sweetness, like a sugary sweetness too. The peat smoke is there, but it's not overly intense. It's not knocking me over. A lot of earthy notes, a lot of vegetal notes. Definitely the sherry notes are all there. The raisins, more cinnamon on the spice, and a really long finish. Wow. I'm getting leather on the nose now. Ooh, I like that finish. And I like the sherry notes in this. I'm a fan of sherried whiskeys, and sometimes they're sherry bombs. They're overpowering. You don't get to taste anything that's of the original barley and the malting process. It just overpowers it. This is a more subtle sherry finish to it, but definitely there. I have to admit, those of you that said try the Loch Gorm, I'm pretty impressed. Thank you so much for recommending this. It's getting spicier on the finish as I take more tastes. I'm left with a lot of cinnamon on that ending spice. I'm not getting as many chocolate notes. Maybe the ending, that the finish there has a little bit of dark chocolate, but it's not as strong as some other sherry bomb whiskeys. I'm getting a black licorice taste also in the end, more than chocolate. And it's a really lovely finish. In the past, I've done my reviews of Kilchoman, and I love that distillery. So I've been a little disappointed that none of their expressions really stand out to me as ones that I'd go to all the time. And I keep going back and trying different expressions, but this is the first time I found one that really gets in there and says, hey, this might need to be in your cabinet more often. Of course, I would pick one that has a limited run of 17,000 bottles. They did a 2020, which now that I've tasted this one, I kind of want to buy that one. This bottle cost me $115, and I bought it instead of the 2020 because, well, the 2020 was $130 for one thing, and for another thing, I wanted to try their newest iteration of it first, and then I go back and try the more vintage one. Yeah, the more I sit with this whiskey, the more I nose it, the more I taste it, the more flavors I'm getting out of it. There's a little more brininess now. There's a little bit heavier of that leather note. I'm getting some other fruits in there. Like I had the sweet raisins, but now I'm getting a bit of grape note too. Yeah, I am really liking this. So let me know in the comments what your experience with Loch Gorm is, if you've had any. Have you had the 2021, the 2020? What do you like about it? Have you had any other Kilchoman expressions that you've tasted against the Loch Gorm and would recommend that I go for next? Let me know in the comments. And would I recommend this whiskey? Well, it's a non-age statement whiskey, and the price is a little high for that. But given that it's a limited run whiskey, and given that it actually is 9 or 10 years old, we do know that it has some age to it, some time spent in there. So I would say, yes, it is definitely a whiskey that if you like Kilchoman especially, and if you like sherried whiskeys, this is definitely in your ballpark. This is a great whiskey to try. And I'm going to enjoy sitting with this and getting to know it better after this video. So until next time, take care of yourself, take care of those people around you, and cheers. Well done. Thank you to everyone who suggested this. Kilchoman is a fantastic distillery. It's located on the island of... Kilchoman is a fantastic distillery. It's located on the island of Islay, which is on the west coast of